Okay, let me. I should be live now. Let me do a sound check. All right, hold on. Give me a second. All right, man. Hello. Hello. Okay, I sound fine, but I do have to be careful on this microphone. Uh, it when I rock back and forth when I move is when the audio gets stupid. So I have to be. I pretty much have to stay still. So um, yeah. So I just pretty much have to stay still. Anyway, how you guys doing? Who we 186 back again with another live stream. Been a minute. Um, I normally, I should do more wrestling topics on here. Um, I just really don't really have the time or whatnot. But anytime I have some time, I'll come in and do a video, right? And I'm not gonna do videos like this often, but I do feel like it's something I need to talk about when it comes to calling out certain people. First thing first, hopefully you guys are doing well. Um, I didn't even say I was going live. Um, hold on a second. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Okay, let me just share this real quick. Say I'm live now. Give me a moment. Okay. All right. So far the audio seems to be doing well. So that's good. Give me one moment. Okay. So I shared it there. Let me go to Discord. Over at the podcast Discord, if you guys want to join. Give me one moment. Okay. Okay, it should be okay. All right. So what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about something that frankly should have happened a long, long time ago. John Cena's heel turn and how it's going so far, where I think it's headed. Um, yeah. So and then I'll talk about some other stuff as well. Um, Nolan, what's good, bro? How you doing? Nice to see you again. How was Gene's birthday? I don't know. I don't know what he did on his birthday. I don't know. When's the podcast coming back? Soon. I think fairly soon. Fairly soon. Once Steve gets everything in order, then we should be good to go. We should be good to go. So we'll be back. Me and Steve will be back doing our thing. Now, I think during the elimination chamber, Cena wins the chamber. Um, I think The Rock comes out. No, Cody Rhodes comes out. Then The Rock comes out, and now obviously a couple weeks prior, Rock had that weird call out. Was there Saturday? I was at work. I was at work, so yeah, I was at work that Saturday. But shout yeah, I didn't even see it. But yeah, happy birthday to James. Shout out to him. Yeah, I want his soul. Yeah, it was a weird. It was a weird. It was a very weird segment between Rock and Cody. But what it did do was create intrigue for Elimination Chamber, right? So they do that, and I knew Cody wasn't going to turn heel. I knew that was going to happen. It would have been dumb if he did. If he was getting boos, I can kind of see where it was going. But I kind of had a feeling it wasn't going to. He wasn't going to turn heel, right? What I really thought was going to happen was I thought they were going to put CM Punk in that spot, but putting John Cena in that spot, was pretty crazy. And when it comes to all time heel turns, it can never replace Hulk Hogan joining the NWO, right? Like that was just too iconic. But depending on how things go, and I think I can't stress that enough. Depending on how things go, it's either gonna be number two or number three. Based on gravity, is number two. And the other thing I'm referring to is the Seth Rollins turning on the Shield, right? Happened Raw. I forgot after what pay per view, but that was a big deal. That was a big deal. Right now, I have John Cena heel turn at number two. I have the Shield breakup at number three. Right, depending on how things go. If things, kind of between him and Cody, get to a satisfactory place, then it'll stay at number two. If it falls apart, it's gonna go down to three. For me, for me personally, but no doubt about it, John Cena turning heel was a big deal, right? And because he has other Screwjob is my number one. Well, you know what? That's not a bad idea because it pretty much did turn Vince McMahon heel, and a lot of people make the case that Vince McMahon is the greatest heel in professional wrestling history as far as the character goes. So that's not a bad choice. Hmm, that's not a bad choice. But even with that, right? With John Cena taking time away to do his movies and stuff like that, he wasn't gonna do an immediate response um up until he was available, which was last week in Brussels. And I thought the promo was good. I thought the delivery, obviously the delivery was good. Um but me personally, I thought that the explanation was missing a couple things, right? It's not like, obviously they have a couple more weeks. I know he's gonna be back tonight. They have a couple more weeks to kind of flesh things out, but he really didn't explain the Rock connection, why he joined the Rock. He didn't really explain that. And also I felt that the promo really was 10 years too late, man. Like I feel like all his reasonings for him turning made sense 10 years ago when he was actively getting booed, or at least getting very very hard mixed reactions. The last 10 years of his career, I feel like he's been mostly cheered. You know what I mean? So for him to take this complete 180 as a heel and be like, oh, this your fans' fault, it's you guys' fault, and all the other stuff. 10 years ago, it made perfect sense. And obviously, it's been documented that he did thought that he was gonna go heel after the first Rock match, and Vince McMahon decided to nix it. So yeah, man, I just thought that I thought it was good. I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't think it was like top tier either. I thought it was a very good promo. But I do think that the Rock stuff needs to be explained, and maybe they'll explain it down the line. But I also, it to me, for me personally, it is the logic gap between what he's saying and what was actually going on. Just didn't make any sense for me personally. Um, Well, obviously Cody came out, and I like what Cody had to say. Let me also say this. Let me also say this real quick. There was one part that I did like. Travis Scott too. Yeah, I don't get the whole Travis Scott thing. I gotta be real with you. I don't get the whole Travis Scott thing. Steve's in the chat. What's going on, man? But wasn't he somewhat part time 10 years ago? That he was already doing movies. Yeah, he was. He was. But he will come back on occasion. Like I will probably say from his U.S. title run onward, I think he got more cheers than boos. A lot more cheers than boos. Right? I do think that. And when it comes to like John Cena, you know, what he's gonna do onward, right? He's not gonna be heel forever. All right, Steve, you got a message right here, bro. Get on the podcast. Um, he like obviously his last year. I personally don't think he's gonna be heel for for his final year in wrestling, for completely his final year in wrestling, right? But I do wonder when the turn back to a babyface is gonna come, and it has to come against The Rock. It has to come against The Rock. Now they're not gonna have a match together because let's be frank, I don't think either guy can do a one-on-one, a pure one-on-one match together. If they're matched with someone who can carry them, yeah, but them together, I don't think it can happen. It has to happen at a certain point in time, right? All right. Steve says since he was part time, I don't see the reason why turn him heel. It's a big deal to make a change, but not if he's part time. I get what you're saying, Steve, but you know, he does have movie commitments, and they wanted to do something that was shocking. And you can't lie, it was shocking. You can't lie, it definitely was shocking. But you know, like when it comes to John Cena, like he's not gonna be healed the rest of the year. I don't believe so. Cause in your last year of pro wrestling, like you kind of want to go out on top. Like I said, I don't know how John Cena's mindset is. I don't know what he's thinking. But you want to do something with people cheering you. And me personally, I think what they could do is they can revisit after, because I don't think he's gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win in Mania against Cody. But if he does, let's say he does, right? If he wins, he'll be the champion. Like and you know he'll be the champion. He'll be the record holder of most title wins at 17. Um, you know I do think that a confrontation with CM Punk has to happen. It do have to happen. And after the match, regardless of whether or not he wins or loses or whatever, if I mean, I don't know, because do you want CM Punk to be a world champion? Going into probably the later half of the year, maybe not. I don't know. But regardless whether he has the belt or not, the main goal is for him to turn babyface after that match. Rock comes out, either he beats up CM Punk or he admonishes John Cena. That's when he turns babyface. And then after that, you know, we'll see what happens after that. But I do think that before Cena's done, before he turns back babyface, there's two things that he needs to do: wrestle CM Punk, wrestle Randy Orton. That's what he needs to do. And then, you know, however you get him back into a babyface role, you do that. Now, in that promo, there was one thing that I did like, even though I think a lot of people, and myself included, would have wanted to see him do this, is, you know, get rid of the goofy outfit that he been wearing, right? The jorts and the colorful shirt. And I ain't gonna lie to you, his explanation was pretty spot on. I liked his explanation. I don't dress like you guys. I dress like me. You know what I mean? I'm paraphrasing, but I do. I did like that explanation, even though I would have liked to have seen him take a more serious look. I didn't like that explanation. But even with all that, like, I thought the promo was good. I didn't think it was great, but but they do have time. They do have time. So as far as that goes, give them, you give them time. You know, I think it'll do well. I don't know how the match is gonna be. I'm sure the match is gonna be good. It should be good because Cody obviously he's a great wrestler, so he can, and plus I'm sure there's gonna be a bunch of interference. I'm sure it's gonna be that. The Rock is probably gonna be there. You're gonna have that also, but I think the match will be good, and I am intrigued about what direction they're going to go. Now, when now let me start sharing this. All right, so normally on YouTube, right? I'm scrolling down. I like watching videos from certain people. If I like the video good enough, I'll I'll subscribe. Once in a while, I'll see stupid videos, and this is one of those videos. Now, let me give him a shout out. Off the what's the channel name? Off the mic sports or some crap like that.
The biggest fans of.
All right, off the mic sports network, right? I don't know if he's part of a network or if that's just his YouTube name or whatever, right? He's one of the videos that I saw regarding this was actually a couple weeks. This was actually a couple weeks before the John Cena thing, right? This was my first interaction with someone like him. Now, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Yes, I am an AEW fan. Right, let's see. The pod should start soon. Now that my pod's working. By the way, you think sliding with The Rock was a good choice, or should it be someone else? Yeah, I guess he's talking to Nolan. Okay. Now, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Yes, I am a fan of AEW, but I'm also not someone who is blind to any flaws that the company has, right? I'm not a diehard AEW sycophant. I'm a fan because as a wrestling fan, you want competition to you want WWE to have competition, right? And WWE for probably say ever since. Oh, okay. No, it makes sense. It makes sense, because The Rock was pretty much he's kind of considered the final boss, right? And he wanted Cody to join him. So instead of instead of I'm assuming that he kind of figured that Cody wasn't going to join him, but so he decided to recruit John Cena, and all we really need is an explanation from John Cena or The Rock why he joined. I like the Take a Wish Foundation. Rock and John was golden because they didn't see eye to eye in their fights. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we do need an explanation when it comes to that, right? So okay, so back to this guy right here, right? Like I said, I'm a fan of AEW because I think their existence is good for the wrestling business. Anyone who says otherwise is a fucking moron. Full stop. I will not hear nothing of it. If you tell me, and I'm not saying this guy has said it, I don't know what his opinion is. All I know is that I scroll down his YouTube page and all I see is just negative. Anytime he talks about the AEW is either shitting on Mercedes Monet or shitting on AEW, right? So I don't know what his mindset is. I'm assuming that he doesn't like the product, but he talks about it to help his YouTube channel, right? And I am indirectly helping him in that. I get it. But my thing is this. If you believe that AEW is bad for the wrestling business, you're a fucking moron. I will not hear. There are very few arguments I will engage if I hear someone say something, right? Like for like I don't want to give an example, but anything that I know for a fact is inherently wrong, I will not hear of it. It's the Hollywood element to me. If they start acting in roles together, especially Hobbs and Shaw, it gives this some weight to the deal. I do wonder. I know they're both in the Fast and Furious franchise. I do wonder if they'll do a movie together. But yeah, so all right, so going back to this guy, right? The one thing I noticed, like all over social media, if you have these people who, no matter what the company does, they'll just shit on it no matter what, right? And again, I'm not saying you have to like everything AEW does. I mean, there's some stuff AEW does that I don't like, but at the end of the day, as far as I go, as someone who's been watching wrestling for 30 plus years, I know a bad wrestling product when I see it. I know a bad wrestling product when I see it. WWE before Triple H, before I'll probably say between, oh man, I want to say 2009 to 2016, I could not watch the product. Could not watch. There was the time when I was actively watching, and I had to tap out. I had to tap out. That's a bad wrestling product. TNA after, I want to say after Hogan took over, bad wrestling product. Bad wrestling product. Like WCW, 2000, 2001, bad wrestling product. Yes, AEW is not perfect, but it's not a bad wrestling product under any circumstances. But again, if you feel the other way, if you feel a certain type of way, that's fine. That's fine. But here's the bullshit that I see here. Now, we're gonna be talking. We talk about AEW Grand Slam Australia was a mess. Now, mind you, everything going up to it was a mess. Definitely, I agree with you there with the whole, them, wanting to be in a bigger arena, in the stadium. I forgot what the stadium is named, but they clearly wanted to be in a bigger stadium, bigger venue, right? And then they had the whole ticket pricing controversy that they screwed over some fans. I'm not saying none of that was good. It was a bad thing for AEW, right? But the show was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. But here he is. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth himself.
Good wrestling, but in terms of
let's go back. You guys should be able to hear this.
Hey everyone, Off the Mic Sports Network here, another edition of Off the Top Rope. I did get a chance to watch Grand Slam Australia late last night, and man, this show was good wrestling, but in terms of this was a disaster for AEW.
So you hear what the guy said: good wrestling, but a disaster for AEW. How does that make any sense? Let's be like, considering all the stuff that happened before then, and yes, I do agree with him that going into it was a disaster, but the show wasn't. The show wasn't a disaster under any circumstances. Let's continue.
AEW. This is even worse of a disaster than I thought, because I had heard rumors about the whole ring debacle that had happened. Man, they had little step stools on the sides of the ring. What? Oh my God. And then I did it. If you go to my social media, you can see side by side Dynamite's ring, which they recorded on Tuesday for Wednesday's show. And then obviously what happened in Australia. This was embarrassing. This is embarrassing.
Okay. So what he's referring to is a situation when it comes to the ring, right? Because the ring was apparently smaller than their normal ring. And why does that matter to some? Why does that matter? Look, I will say this: it only matters to people who actively hate on a product. When someone actively hates on a wrestling product, on anything, they'll use any little thing, no pun intended, to shit on a product. Not one time during that show did I ever think, oh well, oh my god, the ring size, oh my god, the ring size. What are your rankings for WWE, TNA, and AEW and NXT if that counts? AEW one, WWE two, and I don't watch the other two. I don't watch TNA or NXT. So AEW one, WWE two. But like going back to this, what the fuck does the ringside have to do with what does the ringside matter to anybody? Realistically, it only matters when people have an active hatred for something, or have an active hatred for something.
And then in terms of the content of the show, you guys already know how I feel about Harley Cameron losing to Mercedes Moné. Mercedes with the worst finish in professional wrestling, hits the moneymaker, looked very weak off a botched move by Harley, and she just wins. And I have no optimism. Everybody's like, Harley shouldn't have won because she might get it. You might be able to build her something. No, this was just a case of an over talent being fed to effectively Hulk Hogan for the women's division. And they're not going to put her over. And like, yeah, maybe it's
Okay, so let me address that real quick. So Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, she's been WWE TBS champion for pretty much going on to a year, right? She's the biggest star in the company, and she's the biggest women's star in the company. She's probably top five biggest stars in the company. Period. Obviously she's a very good worker. I don't give a shit what this fucking guy says. She's obviously a very good worker. Clearly cares, right? And I think they like people who are over, people who are obviously good are gonna get pushed. And props to Harley Cameron. If you guys don't know who she is, she's a phenomenal talent. She's improved every time she's in the ring. She's always getting better. She's as talented as anybody in that company. And the one thing that I will criticize AEW for is that they do a very bad job, more often than not, in following up on certain wrestlers, like character. Like obviously, for those of you who don't know, Wardlow, for example, after he beat he had that great feud with MJF. It building and building and building to the moment. Yeah, the whole MJF stuff happened, and I think that in a large part stops his momentum. But he's the story of several people who, after they were done with either chasing for the title or something, or the story ends or whatever, then they're just regulated to be pretty much being in the background. And someone like Harley Cameron should be someone who should be front and center. Not obviously not going to be a title contender every other time, but people who are as talented as her needs TV time. Definitely needs TV time.
Maybe it ends up being Athena in her home city, in her home state of Texas, at All In. She's now got an 800-day title reign as Ring of Honor champion. Maybe that's what it is. But at this point, who cares? You have Claudio Castagnoli in this match. So no, and some people say, it's a no D. Getting into the poorly formatted ring. I don't know if it was the ring's fault or if it was Buddy's fault, but Buddy had a nice tribute to the attire that he was wearing.
All right, so you have that, and I'm looking through his channel. Dude, I would say the vast majority of it is negative, right? He'll talk other sports too, but the vast, especially AEW, it's just negative. Let me get to the part that I was like, this guy's on some bullshit, right? Respectfully, on some bullshit. Let me get to this video. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh man. All right, let me see. There was one. Let me see. Well, there was one video here that I saw. This well, I didn't see this video, but he said that AEW needs to rethink its pay per view format. When did you find this out? Like when did you find this out? Like a couple years ago? Like, excuse me, what you just find this out now? This has always been their pay per view format. Always been better. I mean, what am I talking about? It's always been their format. Now, again, I don't know if you just started watching, but this has been their format forever. Fuck you talking about? All right, so let's. There was one video in particular that I need to address, and this is the main thing that I wanted to address. Maybe it's down here. Also, let me also say this here. AEW has such thin skin. Here's what happened, right? When it comes to that, right? Another him bitching about Mercedes video, right? Mercedes Moné more than likely told JD from New York. This fucking loser right here in the thumbnail right here. That she went to a independent show, HOG, and I more than likely said I don't want this guy commentating on the match, right? And again, I'm not one to kind of like, I guess you could call it like cancel someone off rip for an opinion. You know what I mean? I'm not one for that. But one, he didn't get fired. Excuse me, he didn't get fired. And two, more importantly, she's doing a favor for House of Glory. And if she don't want this guy who also has any opportunity he gets, he'll criticize her, use her thumbnail, send haters to her page, and she don't want him commentating. I think that's a fair trade. Fuck JD from New York. He can go fuck himself. Now, let me see. There's the video. Where is it at? I'm trying to find it. I think it's I think it's before Revolution. Let me see. Where is it at? Okay. I know is there somewhere. I think I'm getting close. So I do apologize for the I do apologize for this. But this is kind of like the template for what AEW haters are, right? They'll bitch about Tony Khan. They'll shit on either Mercedes or anyone else, anyone who they don't like. They'll shit on them, and to me, like I said before, people can believe what they want to believe, right? They can like what they like, but you can tell somebody who is doing this for who's grifting, basically. You can see a grifter from a mile away. Like, he has a video, AEW Revolution won't be better than WrestleMania. Who the fuck cares if it is or isn't? But you need to make an 8-minute video for ad revenue. I get it. Right? Let me see. I'm still trying to find this fucking video. Where is it at? Let me see. In the meantime, let me see if I'll read. Let me see if there's any comments. Get your shit. Get your shit together. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I'm up. I've been up, but I just yes, I've been tired. I'm tired. I do have some other stuff I have to do afterwards, so let me see. I know the video's up somewhere. Let me see. Do you have anything else to say, Joe? What's going on? Man, where the fuck is this video? Like, yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it for some reason. Yeah, I can't find it for some reason. I don't know where it's at. Check this thing. Why'd you stop watching TNA? And I could have sworn you watched. I don't watch NXT. I never watched NXT. TNA. I like I stopped watching. What year was that? I want to say 2011. It was after. You remember? There was a long time ago when Hogan and Bischoff showed up, right? And and all right. So when Hogan and Bischoff showed up, their main goal was to compete with WWE, right? And I gave them the benefit of the doubt for some fucking stupid reason. And I didn't think the show was terrible, but I remember I remember I remember they had a match between um Nigel McGuinness, aka Desmond Wolf, and D'Angelo De Niro, right? Two of my favorite wrestlers in the company, and they went 5 minutes. They gave them 5 fucking minutes, right? And I'm like, come on, bro. Like, and then as the shows went on, they got killed in ratings wise against WWE, and then they decided to switch it back. And truth be told, the show is garbage. So I decided not to watch. And then they leave Spike. They leave Spike, and then they're on other networks that I couldn't find. And truth be told, like even if I found it, like I wasn't gonna watch it anyway. Yeah, like I said, I can't find this shit, man. I can't find it. But you can see here that the vast majority of his videos are anti AEW. And the thing is this, right? Like I said, I'm not. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. But I don't know if I can do a channel of me just hating on something. I just can't. I can't do it. If I was making money, I would do it. You know what I mean? Which like I said, I don't know how much this dude's making, but this we all know what this is. We know what this is. Yeah, like I said. Okay, there it is. It was in my face the whole time. The gap between AEW and WWE is massive. Now, no shit is massive. We all know it's massive. So he's gonna be talking about what happened with CM Punk and not CM Punk, John Cena and The Rock, right? When the turn happened, right? And listen.
I'm going to do something that the average person would not touch. I'm going to loosely talk about AEW Collision. I haven't even seen the ratings yet, but I want to illustrate a point here. And people think that I hate AEW. I don't.
Shut the fuck up. Don't lie to these people. Don't lie to the people. You scroll down your own YouTube page and say that with a straight face.
I just think that,
and here's the thing. I don't even give a shit if you do or don't. Just don't lie about it. Don't lie about it. That's the thing that I can't stand what people do. They sit there, they act like they don't do this when they're actively doing it, and then they try to call you out for noticing what they're doing.
the way that they represent themselves and the level of talent that they have, they could do way more better. And their fan base is completely far gone. And so just in their feelings that if you even throw an ounce of
criticism, the one thing that I can say unequivocally, I don't like it. I don't like WWE fans, fanboys more likely, more more directly. I don't like WWE fans, but it's not going to be the reason why I hate the product or not. For me, it just doesn't. It don't work that way for me.
Criticism at that, they get defensive. So let's establish this right away. Collision was going on at the exact same time as the Elimination Chamber. And if you want to understand the gap between AEW and WWE right now, and again, this wouldn't be an issue if Tony Khan didn't keep parading his company around like there wasn't anything wrong with it.
Okay, so again, what is he supposed to do? He's supposed to admit to people like you that his product sucks? How does that make any sense? Like, oh no, look, the one thing I can say safely about Tony Khan is that he has a lot of, I call it toxic positivity, right? He will never admit that there are certain things wrong with his product, and I get it to an extent, but he has that vibe to him, right? Anytime he has numbers that he can brag about, he'll brag about it, right? I get that. But if you look at where the company was, I'll probably say last year, right? Where they were clearly, even though the wrestling for the most part has always been really good, there were clearly issues when it comes to certain storylines. I thought the whole elite angle, when he took a bump, unfortunately, I thought that was a disaster. I don't think the Death Rider stuff has been very good for the most part. But clearly, the thing that I noticed from Tony is that he will never verbalize issues going on in public, but I do think he addresses them in private. And again, it may not be good enough for some people. It is what it is.
Worst world heavyweight championship run that I've ever seen in my life. The main event scene's a disaster. Their production.
All right. So, I mean, if you've been watching wrestling for as long as I think you've been watching wrestling, you've seen the Great Khali, you've seen Jinder Mahal, but Jon Moxley is the worst one. Okay, I'll believe that when I see it.
They don't think they need. They don't think they need to have production meetings to make sure that mishaps don't happen on shows. But here's how
production mishap do happen from time to time, even from WWE. As long as they're not rampant, then it's not a big deal. But like I said, when your goal as a YouTube channel is to find every little thing wrong with the company, that's what you're gonna do. That's what you're gonna come up with.
Oh, the gap is so wide between WWE and AEW.
Okay, and he'll go on to explain why. And like I said, like the gap between the two was going to be wide no matter what. You're talking about a wrestling company with how many years of lineage? Like 80 years of lineage? They're part of a multi-billion-dollar corporation that runs mixed martial arts unopposed, basically, and they're going to try to take over boxing as well. They're part of a multi-billion-dollar enterprise, and AEW is run by a rich dude, a rich guy, and his family. That's it. And don't get me to it. Don't get to it. It's Shaq Khan, Tony Khan, their family. They have lots and lots of money. They're very rich, but they're not as big. They're never going to be as big as WWE. Anybody who is being intellectually oh god intelligent god damn it. Okay. Anyone who's being honest about this would know that from off rip. And you don't need arguably the biggest heel turn in the history of pro wrestling to say this. You don't need it. So obviously, all this video is to me is clickbait. That's all this. That's all this all is clickbait. And the reason, and I fell for it because it's on my timeline. It's on my YouTube, you know, suggestion box. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to give some people the benefit of the doubt if they say something you don't agree with. But and I gave him the benefit of the doubt to hear him out, and every time I do, I get burned. You know what I mean? Like, so, because you can kind of tell from people like Mike Sportsman, whatever the fuck his name is, what you know what his MO is. I love the NXT versus TNA aspect now. I mean, yeah. So yeah, TNA having in a partnership with NXT. I'm sure it's good. I haven't watched any of it, but I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good. But you know what and that's the thing that with AEW haters that I don't like the most. You know exactly what they're doing. Now again, some of the criticisms are legitimate, but you know who the phonies are. You know who the phonies are. If they're wasting their time talking about ring size, right? All they can do is just shit on one wrestler in particular. If they bitch about the John Moxley spot, right? The spot where he kind of got suplexed. He got suplexed on a nail board, right? It's a very gruesome thing to watch. But you look at John Moxley and you look at the company. This is on brand for John Moxley, and it's on brand for AEW. They do hardcore shit. Like, for fuck's sake, like they had a guy, Nick Gage, use a pizza cutter on Chris Jericho. You know what I mean? And WWE tried to like fuck AEW over because of it. You know what I mean? But this is on brand. What do you like? This is what the company is. They push the envelope. Is what makes them different from WWE. And again, it's something if you don't have to like it, but that's what it is. We all know what this is. And he had a video talking about how the match was unnecessary. Of course, it's fucking necessary. First of all, when they had their match in Revolution, one, the match wasn't very good, and two, Edge didn't get pinned. So obviously they were going to run it back. They were obviously going to run it back. It's like these dudes who claim they watch wrestling for all these years don't understand the basics of what professional wrestling is now. They don't understand the basics of what a company is about and what they do. Again, I've been watching this thing for 30 years. I'm not saying I'm like the know all be all when it comes to pro wrestling. And every day I'm trying to learn something new about the business, right? I'm always trying to learn about certain things that happen. I listen to people like Solid Monster and John Pollock, Wei Ting, anyone else, even WH Park, guys who know the business. right? And people who don't have agendas. Sasha is NJPW Strong Stardom and Red Pro champion, not ROH champion, TBS champion. Yeah. So yeah, I know that. I don't know if I said it. I don't know if I said it. If I said it, I'm wrong. Oh, he couldn't get that right. Yeah, because for you can tell with some of these people what their mo, what their agenda is, right? Like I said, I've been watching this thing for a long time. I feel like I have, you know, not only the knowledge and and I watched it. Okay. Okay, no, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. If you gotta take a call, you gotta take a call, man. I get it, man. But I like I said, I do appreciate you being on here. I appreciate Steve being on here. I appreciate Joe being on here. Like, I've been watching this thing for 30 years, so I feel like I have some knowledge of what I'm talking about and what I can tell is going on, right? And some people just don't. They claim that they watched all these years. They claim that they like a lot of them. A lot of people I've seen who hate AEW now claim, they claim that they were fans in the beginning, right? And I can point to several things in the beginning of AEW that weren't very good. But I also know that as a company, you're not going to be perfect, and you're not going to get everything right. And even now, even though I do enjoy the vast majority of the show, there's always like one or two things I don't like. But what I'm not going to do is dedicate my life to shitting on a product. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. I'm not going to waste my time dedicating myself to doing that. And you have people who do that, like Eric Bischoff, for example. That's all his entire existence ever since beating Raw for 83 weeks and ruining TNA. He has nothing left. So what did he have to do? He has to shit on AEW and Tony Khan. You can tell by some of these people. You have the wrestling soup nerds. That's all they have. JD from New York. That's all he has. And I don't have the channel. Oh, so you were watching till Anthem bought it, and I don't have the channel. I actually do have the channel. I have the channel, but pretty much I simply if I'm doing something, like most of the time I'm doing something Thursday, so I really can't watch. And even if I could watch to me, like I said, I wish them all the best of luck, but they don't really have anything going on that I can gravitate to, right? If there's a good match, I'll definitely watch it. I'll keep an eye out for it. But for the most part, I don't watch TNA. But like I said, you can tell from these dudes. You can tell from the phonies. And listen, like I said, Mike, whatever your name is, I don't know you, so I'm not going to pretend that I'm not going to pretend that I know how you are, what you're about, or whatever. But I do think, based on what I see from your YouTube channel, based on what I've heard you say, I think you're a phony. It don't make you a bad person. I just think that you're a phony. I think that you are doing this for clout. That's what I'm saying. I hate these content creators. They shit on AEW, but double back and say they don't hate it. Bro, that's exactly what I don't like about this dude and other content creators. They will sit there and tell you a straight lie to your face that, oh, I don't hate this, I don't hate that. But anytime they get an opportunity to shit on it, they do it. And if it was just this storyline didn't hit it for me, if this match didn't hit it for me, I can understand that to an extent. Because the thing that people don't understand about professional wrestling is a very broad art form. Not everything gonna hit for you. Like wrestling in Japan, wrestling in Mexico, wrestling in England, wrestling in the United States, wrestling in Canada is all very different because they're catering to different audiences. Like for me, I can't get into traditional lucha libre. It just doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean? Like I can get into the high spots and the flying and all the other stuff, but for the most part, it's a very interesting format that they use because I think they do best of three. When I was watching, I don't know how it is now, but when I was watching, they would normally do a best of three. Like a one-on-one match was something that was very rare in Lucha Libre back in the day. But I didn't sit there and create a channel, be like, oh, I hate Lucha Libre. No. Whatever stuff that I liked, I watched, and the rest of it, I was just like, it is what it is. AEW always has a new low with these people. It was Hangman run first, then MJF, now Death Rider. They say Max is the worst champion. They say Mox is the worst champion when he's been champion 4 times. Yeah, exactly. And I'll admit, like his latest title run, I'm not a fan of. Not a fan of. But at the end of the day, I do trust the company to. I think the guy who they probably wanted to be champion is Darby Allin, but Darby's climbing Mount Everest, and we don't even know if he. Frankly, I don't even know if he's alive yet. Now, Swerve, I don't even know if he's alive, but Swerve Strickland is the number 1 contender, right? I don't know if he's going to win, but if Darby Allin's coming back soon, then I will hold off and put the title on Darby, right? Now, if he's either not coming back or if he's dead or whatever it is when he's been in Mount Everest, then I do think at some point you do have to put the title. Here's a couple guys who I will put the title on: Hangman, Swerve, MJF. Those are your top 3 guys. To me, those are your top 3 guys in the company right now. As far as like I don't want to say AEW originals because Swerve is not technically an AEW original. But if you can't get Darby Allin, you get MJF, Hangman, or Swerve. Right? Those are your top. Those are your future. Those are your future stars. And yes, I know they have Kenny. I know they have Will. I know that like those guys, they're doing their own thing right now, and likely one of those like either Kenny, Ospreay will be world champion at some point definitely. Obviously you have Okada. They have their list of guys. I do think that when it comes to their future, it's called Lucha Libre. You didn't watch because the lack of one-on-one matches. Is the wrestling still good? That's the thing. Like to me, it wasn't. Like I didn't because it was very. Man, it's hard to say. I don't want to say it's choreographed, but it definitely felt choreographed. You know what I mean? Yeah, Lucha Libre. That's what it's called, and that's what wrestling in Mexico is called, Lucha Libre. And like there are definitely some matches that I liked, but it just wasn't for me, right? It just wasn't for me, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to create a channel for it, but yeah. Moving on, like I said, man, like you can tell the phonies. And like I said before, if you simply don't like the product for whatever reason, I can't hate on you for that. I can't hate on you for it. But is when these dudes They go the extra mile. They say things that make no sense whatsoever, and all they want to do is shit on the product to either make money or to gain attention. That's all they're doing this for. And I'm sorry, this channel is the epitome of that. Is the is the exact is exactly what this guy is doing. And again, I'm not going to do this often. Like I'm not going to sit there and pick out YouTube channels to call them out. But I feel like I need to do it here because one, I did want to talk about the Cena heel turn, but I also wanted to illustrate how far some of these morons will go to compare a company with decades of lineage to a company that's 5 years old. And again, no excuse for a show being good or bad. Good or bad, like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can tell that some of these dudes will use any type of logic gap to shit on a product that they quote don't like. And now, let me see. Let me see. I also wanted to ask. I thought Cena and Rock didn't like each other outside of wrestling. People criticize Cena for doing the same thing The Rock did. Well, that is interesting. So here's what Cena has said, right? When he first, like, remember they first called out the first time Cena ever called out The Rock was during the Hall of Fame, right? I forgot what year it was, but it was definitely like it was over a decade ago. He said something. He called out The Rock, and Cena said that the reason why he did it was because there were people in the company that wanted him to do it. So he's saying that he got coaxed into doing it by someone in the company, right? They have their match. They have their first match, and the one thing that I remember watching because it was down here, right? I remember the ending sequence when The Rock, I think The Rock hit him with a rock bottom, pinned him, and that was it, right? I think that was the ending sequence. Yeah, the John Cena was going for the people's elbow, doing the mocking the people elbow. The Rock caught him with a rock bottom, and he pinned him. You notice right after the three pinfall, Cena rolls right out of the ring. Immediately rolls out the ring, and The Rock was caught mouthing. I think he called him like a son of a bitch or something like that. He called him something. So you can tell that there was definitely anger between the two men. And I remember there was one segment where I don't know if it was the first match or during the second or before the second match, where Cena cooked The Rock on the microphone, and you can tell The Rock was visibly upset. You can tell that he was visibly upset about it, right? So yeah, so they did have some animosity over the years. I guess they were able to talk to each other, and they cool, and they're cool now. I think Cena. I think The Rock helped Cena get into the role in Fast 9. I think The Rock did help him with that, and then they've been cool ever since. If you build Cassidy and story, his time can come too. I'm assuming you're talking about Orange Cassidy. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I know people look at the gimmick and they don't like the gimmick or whatever, but I can see that. But the story has to be there. The story has to be there. And that's another thing that this clown said. And let me address this too. And a lot of people say this, like AEW just random matches, right? Now, this guy, he says that oh well, AEW needs to concentrate more on let me see. I think the video's right here. I haven't seen the video. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not interested in it. AEW needs to focus more on stories than crazy spots. And here's the thing. Like, they have stories, they have storylines. Like, they do. Not everything can be this epic year-long storyline. It just can't. You're going to have storyline that lasts a month. You're going to have storyline that lasts 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Not every storyline has to be just elaborate, elaborate story. It just doesn't work that way because you have injuries, you have maybe wrestlers departing. You have no idea what's gonna happen in the future. But if you can do a storyline like a Mariah May versus Tony Storm, then you do it. And clearly he said here, like he said in one of his other videos that the third Mariah May Tony Storm match should main event. And why does he say that? Because they built a story. Now, mind you, this is the same guy who said that TNA or AEW don't create stories. They had a story that's been going on for over a year. And I do agree, it should have main evented Revolution. Um, yeah, I remember that then, and I heard Rock went off script on the mic because of it. He probably did because he got cooked. He got cooked. You know what I mean, by John Cena. So yeah, so you had the Tony Storm stuff, and the thing that a lot of people either don't know or conveniently don't tell people is that the way WWE and AEW do stories are different, or very different. I would argue that AEW story, the way they tell stories, is very similar to how they do story. They tell stories in old school Ring of Honor, and probably in Japanese wrestling or New Japan, where the stories are told primarily in the ring, while in WWE they rely on promos. Now, I don't mean that Japanese wrestling, they do promos as well. They do promos. Um, Ring of Honor, they had guys who did promos. Like you can mix and match different things, but in theory, WWE is more storyline focus based. AEW is more in ring focus based, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you can tell, and if you watch the company, if you watch AEW and not from the lens of a fucking hater, they've told some of the best stories in wrestling over the last 5 years. The whole storyline between Hangman, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman's rise to the title. They did that. Um, the the um the elevation of Swerve for Strickland, MJF and Adam Cole before injuries hurt that storyline. Everything was going on. That part was going on great. Then obviously MJF versus CM Punk was excellent when it comes to storytelling. Like, bro, like they have great storylines in the company. Like Rosa versus Britt Baker. Like I can name so much off the top of my head. But the problem with this with people like him, like they ignore it because it's not it don't get clicks. At least in their eyes, they don't get clicks. The crazy thing about AEW is that you get excited to see the lower card and tag team. Her Syndicate versus Outrunners had the crowd crazy. Yeah, I haven't watched the match yet, but yeah, I agree with you there. Like WWE's tag team division to me is garbage. I gotta be real with you, it's garbage. And they have great talent in that tag team division, but to me, the way they promote it is garbage. They've done nothing with the secondary women's tag team title, with secondary women's titles. And Chelsea Green is great on is awesome. I'm a big fan of Chelsea Green. Random question. Hold on. Random question. The U.S. title still exists? Asking because I can't remember who had it after Cena. Yeah, it still exists. Um, I don't know who has it. I don't remember. I don't remember who has it. Maybe it's L.A. Knight or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Mariah versus Tony winning too. Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I agree with you there. To me, it's the best storyline that AEW has ever done when it comes to the women. It's been excellent, and you saw the progression from day one. Okay, so you won it from Sensuke. Okay, I remember you didn't like the title. Why? Oh, I didn't like the look of the title. At least the United States one. The old one looked garbage. The new one don't look as bad. The one that Cena, the one that Cena had. Did he have a spinner one? No. He had an old. Like, I remember John Cena had an old school spinner belt, USA spinner belt that looked insanely good. Let me get off this. Let me get off this guy's page. Let me get off this guy's page. Let's look up let's look at USA title USA US titles. Let me. All right, let me go to Google. Let me go to Google. Excuse me. Let's look up US title. I'm just waiting for it to go out for a second. You didn't like so you didn't like the US title spinner belt? Let's look it up. 'Cause I remember being a big fan of it. Yeah, US title WWE. Okay, this is the current one. This is the current one. Let me put this in full view. How come I'm wrong one? Hold on. Give me a second. Oh yeah, hold on. I'm trying to blow this thing up. Okay. All right, let me zoom in on this. Okay, hold on. My fault. Sorry. Can I zoom in? First one I can zoom in. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Okay, let me share this. All right, this is the current USA title. How does it look? How does it look to you guys? You want to show? You want me to show all the current titles as well? Yeah, I'll see. I'll do that. Let me see. Yeah, so this one doesn't look half bad. I do like this one. I do like this one. Okay, let me go to the old school one. This is the original WWE US title. Okay, it's perfect. It's perfect. Let me share this instead. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me share. Yeah. So yeah, that one. The current one looks good. I will admit that it does look good. Just give me a second. I do have the other. I have the old school one. I'm just waiting for it to prop up. There you go. This is the old school one. This is the one that like Eddie Guerrero held this title. Um, what's the other one? What's the other one that's held the title? Like this was during like the whole SmackDown 6 era. This one to me doesn't. I don't like it. I don't like it. It looks weird to me. But maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. In the meantime, let me look for the spinner belt. All right. So, what do you guys think about the old school one? Okay. All right, and then this is the old school USA title. To me, I like this one. This is my favorite one. It has an old school look to it. Like I said, I love the side plates, and I don't know. To me, it looks better. It looks more regal. The old one, the one that I showed you, the last one I showed you, looks too cartoonish in comparison to this one. This one looks like a grown up USA title. USA title. Give me a second. My computer's acting up right now. Okay, they both look good. The one you don't like is probably because it's too bright. That could be it. Yeah. Yeah, it does look like a boxing title. And my only beef with boxing titles is that they're too small. The vast majority of the old school boxing titles are too small. This one this one looks good. All right, so let me show you. Let me try to find the. Let me find the John Cena spinner belt. Because I don't know. I agree with Nolan. I disagree with Nolan. I love that one. Yeah, this is the one. When he was the doctor of the doctor of thugonomics. Yeah. Yeah, word life John Cena. Yeah, I don't know. I like, especially when it spins. Like it looks better when it spins. Like that for me, that's the most important thing when it comes to that title. Like it looks good when it spins. Like the one that he had, the WWF one, when it spun, I hated that one. I hated that one. To me, I guess it just didn't do it for me. This one, I like this one. Now, the design by itself, it was just that by itself. I still would like it, but obviously the old school one will look better. What makes this one good to me is the spin. Is the spin, right? So again, this is my opinion. Just my opinion. No one's opinion is wrong. No one's opinion is wrong. And while you guys look at that, comment on that. Let me find all the current titles. Okay, I believe this should be the current. You know what we should do, Steve? Whenever, yeah, okay. So you love the WWE one? Yeah, yeah. You Nolan say he hates this one. You love the WWE one? I didn't like it at all, bro. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all. But this should be the current one. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys. Okay, you should be able to see this one. Okay, I think I blew it up too much. let me go back a little bit. Okay, so well, these are the titles, and here's my biggest issue with here's my biggest issue with these belts, right? Is the logo. Like they all look the same. This one has more of an homage to the big gold belt, which I do like. But they had the big WWE logo in the front, and I'm like, bro, I personally I don't like it. All right, this is the women's championships. You know what I mean? These are the women's championships. And again, they look the same. They look the same. There's nothing that really differentiate each other outside of the color strap, right? Intercontinental, I can dig that. I do like that. I get what Nolan's saying there. Right, these are the two intercontinental titles, and I think that's the women's title, the women's intercontinental title, right? But here's the thing, like again, they're not that different from each other. They need to be different from each other. All right, so this is the women's USA title. And this is the men's United States. Oh, this is the current USA title. Which again I don't hate. I don't which I don't hate. And these are the tag team titles. Again, like this one I like this one more because this one's more subtle. This one looks like all the regular titles. This one subtle has an old school look to it. And that I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The WWE one was all right. Women's title, yes. Yeah, like they don't have they don't really look that much different from each other. That's why I don't like it. And I get why they do it. It's branding. I get it. I get it. But I would like these titles to look different from each other. And just for shits and giggles, let's look at the AEW titles real quick. And then I'll hop off. Are these all the current titles that they have? No, they have one more. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Okay, I guess this is the best one I can find. Okay. Let me share once again. Those are titles from both. Yeah, they are. They are. Let me. Let me. I'll get the NXT one in a second. Let me. Yeah. This one, yeah. Okay. This one should be it. Okay. This is much better. Now ignore the Ring of Honor titles because I'm not concentrating on Ring of Honor. This is the world title for AEW, which I like. There's the tag team titles. There's the women's title. Let me see. Like they have the TNT and TBS title, which I do like. I do like this. Um, this is the international title. Yeah, AEW has too many belts as well. They have too many belts. Both companies have way too many belts. But you notice the titles all look different from each other. Right? They all look different from each other, which I like. Personally, I like that. You know, international, continental, and then these are like these two right here are tournament or yeah, that's the Owen Hart belt. That's only like that's given to the winner of the Owen Hart tournament. So that's not really a That's not really a traditional champion, if you know what I'm saying. You got the trios belt right here, and yeah, so these are pretty much all the belts in AEW slash Ring of Honor, right? But you know, like I said, I like them because they all look different from each other, and not there's not a bad looking one in the group. You know what I mean? My if I had to pick which title I like the most as far as looks, it's probably the TNT title. That's probably like the best looking one in my opinion. And then let me quickly do um NXT. Let's see. Excuse me. Okay. I'm trying to find one. I'm trying to find one without the WWE belts on it. Yeah, no, I can't find one without the WWE belts. Let me try to find a website. Give me one moment. Yeah, like I said, I can't find one without yeah, I can't find one without the WWE title being shown. So just give me one second. Man, I really can't find it. But what I can do is I can show you some of the title designs in the past. Let me see. This is the I guess this is the current NXT belt right here. I mean, it don't look terrible. It just looks kind of. I would probably say it looks kind of bland, a little bit bland. All right, this is the tag team titles. Again, same. This is women's title. Again, samey, kind of samey. I know where's the USA? Where's the United? Okay, North American Championship. This one, let me blow this up. Let me blow this up because this one. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can blow this up. Yeah. Hold on. There you go. It's a little bit pixelated, but this one, man, there is something about the way the belt is shaped around the circle emblem that I'm not feeling. Even though I do like the I like the fact that it's different. I like the fact that they have the North American representation there. I do like that a lot. There's a lot I like about this belt, but I don't. I think the belt shape is what I'm not feeling. The as far as like the strap shape, It's something I'm not feeling about it. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did look different. But then now everything else is now the same now, for the most part. Okay. You said they all look the same except for the bunch of toys. Yeah, I mean, like, I get what WWE's mindset is because they want to make everything the same, right? Like when you hold up the belt, because what both companies like to do is whenever a team wins a title, wins a championship, they want to have their belt up in the air, right? They want to have they want the logo to be front and center. That's why WWE has their world title that way. You know what I mean? So they want the branding to be front and center, which I get, but it just makes the titles look plain in my opinion. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I mean, I really don't have much else to say. Like I like for me, I look when it comes to Cena's heel turn. Um, all right. I'll show you the TNA one, but then after that, I do have to go. I do have to go. I'll show you the TNA ones. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Hey, don't say I don't do nothing for you guys. Let me see. Now I will admit the one thing I will admit with TNA is that their when it comes to their title, they've always had some of the cooler belts in wrestling. Let me show you this. Okay. Right. I'm trying to zoom in, but that's weird. Okay. Okay. Much better. Now, to me, this is the best championship they've ever had. This one right here, the one I have right here, the one I'm circling right here. This is the best one they've ever had. You know what I mean? I love this title. This one's fine. Like I said, I think the lettering is too gaudy. This one garbage. This one garbage. These are all their secondary titles. But let me show the current one. I believe this is the current world title. Yeah, this is the current one. Yeah, and I do like this title a lot. I'm a big fan of this one. I would say of all the world titles, this is probably my second favorite outside of the AEW world title. This is my second favorite one. It has a great look to it. No, it's fine. It's fine, Steve. We're good. Oh shit! I'm so stupid. My bad. This is the current one. Yeah, this is the current one. I'm thoroughly. This is my second favorite world title in all of wrestling. All of wrestling. Like I said, I like the red coloring with the globe on the bottom. I do like that a lot. Obviously I like the side plates. But I do like this one. I do like this one. But I let me show you the old school one. Let me share this one. Now on these are the world titles that they've had. I'll probably say ever since they removed the NWA licensing. Like the one on the far left is my favorite one. Is one of my favorite world titles of all time. This one right here. There's something about this that I really love about this world title. The one in the middle is it's okay, but it's too. I think the words are too gaudy. The wording on it, the font is too gaudy. This one's garbage. This one looks like something that I made. This one's garbage. But this is to me this is the best world title that they've ever had. Yeah. No, I didn't like the Impact one. Well, hold on. There is a second one on the bottom. Let me see if I can see that one. Let me take a closer look at that one. Okay, you talking about this one right here. I don't know if I can zoom in anymore. Okay. Okay. Ah, come on. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I guess this is the most I can do. But there's one title right here that looks pretty decent. That looks good. But this one right here, this one looks garbage. I hate this one. Yeah, I hate that one. Let me see. I like the middle one except for the letters. Yeah, the letters are too big. They're too bold. Yes, yes. I was just gonna ask you that. We will definitely do a tier list for world titles. We will definitely do one for world titles. And let me do one more. Oh, that's the grand champion. Okay, okay, okay. Let me do one more, and then I gotta go. Now, let me show you this. Let me show you this title. Okay. This title right here is the New Japan World Title. They call it the IWGP uh, World Heavyweight Championship. To me, this is top tier. Now, like I'm not gonna tell you which one I'm gonna put it in, but this is as top tier a title as you can find. This is one of the prettiest belts of all that has ever been made. One of the prettiest. The GOAT. Yeah, absolutely. The GOAT. Like it to me, of all time world titles, this is number two for me behind Big Gold. Big Gold, the Ric Flair belt, will always be number one for me. But this is number two. I, Steve, I get what you're saying. I don't mind having. I don't like for me. Ideally, for me, I would have one world champion. I would have max two singles titles. So either it has to be like two single titles. One has to be a USA type title, and another one can be like another type title. Right, two max single titles. So you have a world champion, two single titles, tag team titles, and that's it. For me, that would be it. Now you want to add obviously if you have women wrestlers, I would have a one regular belt, one the world belt, one secondary belt, and a women's tag team belt, depending on how many women I have in my roster. So for me, max I would have 8 belts. 8 belts max. Right? Oh yeah. I agree with that too. I agree. The Intercontinental one was beautiful as well. But this to me is goated. This is one of the greatest belts ever made. Several years ago, they decided to change it. And here's what they changed it to. This is what they changed it to. I haven't been able to watch the company. I'm joking here, but I have not looked at New Japan the same way ever since. This is the biggest downgrade in the history of belts. You go from this. You go from this, and you downgrade to that. Tell me I'm lying. Okay, so you said that it's based on. Yeah, I do agree too. It is based on roster size, but for me, when it comes to AEW, I we don't need trios tag. We don't need trios tag team titles. I don't mind a trios tournament, a yearly trios tournament. I don't mind that, but we don't need trios titles. And we don't need three. We have three. They have three secondary titles. You don't need three. For me, you need two, max two. And yeah, but you also agree terrible. What the hell is this? Freaking belt looks like a Megatron. It's garbage, bro. It is. And look, just do more with them. I can see that. I can see that. And let me look at it. Let me look at the titles with with people wearing the strap. Like, let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find pictures of people wearing the strap. Even when people who wear the titles, it just looks, bro. Like it just looks awful. That belt looks awful. Let me see. Let me see if I can change up the. Yeah. So okay. So let me show this picture. Give me one moment. Like it don't even look good with these guys wearing it. Okay. See, it don't look good. It don't even look good with these guys wearing it, bro. Like it really don't. And these are some of the best wrestlers in the world. Some of the best wrestlers in the world, and they're wearing this dog shit belt. Look at it, bro. It don't even look good. And then compare it to the old school one. All right, so let me go back. Let me find the old school one. Let me see if I can find it. A second. Give me one moment. Okay. This is a perfect picture. Let me look this up. Let me bring this up. Look at this, right? You got two, obviously Okada, who's now in AEW. Let me go back so you guys can see it, right? The picture is more pixelated than I would like, but you have Okada on the right, holding the old school title. He's in AEW now, and he has Shingo Takagi on the left. You know, he's one of AEW New Japan's top stars. Look at the aura that these two men have right now. One is clearly higher than the other, and it's all because of the title they're holding. One is holding one of the greatest belts in the history of professional wrestling, and the other one is holding a Megatron. It's a downgrade of epic proportions. Look at it, bro. Like it's the biggest downgrade in the history of professional wrestling. It is. It's the biggest downgrade in the history of pro wrestling. I can't drive with this. But on that note, let me get out of here, man. Let me get out of here. Like I said, like the Cena heel turn. I agree. They should never change it. I agree. But like I said, the Cena heel turn, like I like it so far. We'll see where it goes in the future. Like I said, we have, you can tell a hater from someone who criticizes. You can tell who they are. And the guy who I highlighted before, he's just a hater. And unfortunately, there's too many of them out there. And like I said, I would love to do a belt tier list at some point. Definitely want to do that. But anyways, I'm done. Um, would you say that's the best heel turn? You have it top three or top five? It's definitely top. To me, it's top three, easy. Top three. I talked about it earlier, but it's top three, easy. The only thing that I don't think it can never ever replace Hogan going to the NWO. It can never replace that, but it's definitely in top two or three, definitely. But yeah, but on that note, I do gotta go. So I'll talk to you. I'll talk to y'all boys later. Thank you guys for watching. Please comment, like, subscribe, share if you can. I'm out, man. Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. I agree. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to y'all boys later.